Hello and welcome back to the Refuel podcast. My name is Tracy Richardson of Serendipity Wellness and I'm your host today. This is your monthly pit stop, your opportunity to pause, reconnect, come back to yourself and take a few moments just for you. So today's episode is a little bit personal and I'm hoping it's quite reassuring to some of you out there as well. I've got my notes just in case I forget anything. But we're talking about something that as women, we kind of go through it sometimes silently, sometimes maybe even a little bit shamefully as well. And it's something that we will all go through at some points. And what I want to talk about today is what happens when you've outgrown yourself or outgrown the old version of you. Because we kind of get to that point and we don't really know what to do with ourselves because the old us is behind and the new us is unknown, and we're kind of stuck in this middle point, figuring it all out for ourselves because no one ever tells us that we can grow and we can move on and we can do all this stuff, and it's okay to do it. It's okay to do it all, guys. It can make you feel a little bit broken. And as I've said, it can make you feel a bit lost. But this transition phase that you're going through is actually you leveling up. And I think that's why it feels a little bit scary, because it's like the fear of the unknown with everything. So let's talk about that identity of the in-between. Have you ever caught yourself thinking then that you don't feel like yourself anymore, or you may have dealt with these situations or similar sort of situations that come up, but you dealt with them better or differently before, and now you're not really quite sure like how you should handle it. Another way to kind of this kind of crops up is things that potentially used to light you up, things that used to float your boat, things that used to get you going. They're just not doing it for you anymore. And I kind of get this, like, you should feel happy about something, but something kind of just feels off and you can't put your finger on it. So we kind of see this sometimes as a failure, and as women we're really bad at this. We failing at stuff, we're not doing enough. But actually, if we reframe that and we look at it, it's an evolution. It's you transforming yourself, it's you evolving. Then I think that's a better way to put it, because we don't talk about this midlife shift enough, and it is a midlife shift. We're going through a lot, and you may liken this to your teens or your 20s, where you went through a lot and you kind of just dealt with it because you didn't know what you were doing and you just bimbled along. When you get to your 40s, 50s, people naturally assume that you've got your shit together and you know what you're doing. And the thing is, you may have your shit together, but if you're evolving and you're changing and you don't want to do that anymore, or you're developing into something else, no one tells you that that's okay to do that. You've got all this responsibility and a weight on your shoulders, and sometimes there can be less support around. So when you're in your 20s, people are naturally supportive. When you get into your 40s and 50s, that support isn't naturally as forthcoming, certainly when you're a woman in business. And there's lots more responsibility to navigate, there's lots more noise going on, and there's lots more just stuff going on in your life that you have to kind of navigate around. So sometimes you can feel a little bit restless around that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's not necessarily a good thing, it's change. The thing that gets me is that you kind of feel a bit more disconnected to things, or potentially things that mattered 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You're really disconnected from them now. And I know certainly for me, I went through this. And what I'm doing now is I'm reconnecting back to myself and all the things that bring me joy. And Pilates is the main thing that's always brought me joy since my 20s. for some reason, I had to go through that, and it was out of my life for a while, and now it's way back in, and I'm absolutely adoring it again, loving the moment. And I get how it feels to feel confused, and I don't think this is talked about enough. People talk about you should have a mentor, you should have a coach, you should have this, and systems, and you should have all this figured out. Why? Why should we have it all figured out? Because things are naturally evolving, and as women, when we hit this midpoint in our lives, certainly like 40, 45 onwards, things are shifting and changing, and naturally we need to evolve and shift and change with that. And it's natural, it's normal for that to happen. And it's this midpoint, this transitional point, I call it like the stretch, because you feel stretched with absolutely everything that you're doing. You haven't quite landed in the new you. You're kind of not stuck in the old you, but you're stretched between. It's like bridging a gap, if you like. But you've definitely outgrown this version. You can't go back to her. You haven't developed into the new version. It's the messy middle bit, yeah, the stretch. And I want to talk a little bit about my own kind of transition. There was a point in my life, professionally and personally, where everything just looked amazing from the outside, but inside, something just wasn't cutting it. I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel whole. I was ticking boxes and saying yes to things, but they no longer lit me up, and I didn't have the energy for it, and I just felt like I was pushing on for pushing on's sake. And a lot of you can probably relate to this. You're wearing a mask for a period of time, and one morning I just sat there and thought, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I need to do something else. But I didn't know what that was. The whole story, the whole version of me that I'd kind of created had got so far removed from how I felt inside, that something just cracked open, and I knew that it had to change. So I gave myself kind of permission, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I was performing a role. I would say that I developed into something. As I've had so many conversations with women, we've developed into something that just feels so alien to us. And instead of hustling and pushing through and working harder, doing all the things that I'd been told to do, and the strategies and the processes, and like, if you just do this, it'll be fine, it just wasn't working for me. I didn't feel it in my soul. I didn't feel it in my heart. I couldn't fit the mold, and no matter how much someone tried to shoehorn me into something, I couldn't do it. And me being me, naturally, I rebelled, and I then had to take stock and pause and look at what didn't fit any longer. And for me, what didn't fit any longer is when I wanted it more than the people that said they wanted my help. Something wasn't aligned there. And I didn't know what space I kind of fitted into then. And that's when the transformation kind of began. So if you've known me from way back in the beginning, I'm probably a little different now. Still the same me, but a little different on the outside. So what are the signs that maybe you've outgrown the old you? So let's just look at some of this. I'm going to refer to my notes now, and some of the things that maybe you notice, or see if some of this resonates with you. Okay, so we've got your energy dips around certain people or certain roles that you've undertaken, but you keep showing up because it feels like an obligation. Now, I know certainly for me, I'm very energy aware, and now I'm at a point where if my energy dips around certain people, I will remove myself. If my energy dips around certain situations or environments, I will remove myself from that environment, because my energy is precious and I need it for so many things in life. I can't afford to just give that away. You feel unmotivated in places where once you thrived, and you kind of start feeling a little bit guilty for not being grateful. This one really hits home for me because there were certain things that I loved and I thrived doing things, and then all of a sudden it wasn't working, and I didn't feel resentful, but there was something that was misaligned there. You crave stillness, space, or slowness, the 3 S's. These are just so me. I love being still. I've slowed right down, and I love the silence and the space and the awareness. And I think when you go through midlife, you crave these kind of things because it helps you to reassess, realign, reset, and reconnect. And you've started asking bigger questions. Oh my God. I think since the age of 2, my favorite question's been why. But things like, what am I here for? What do I want now? What the hell is going on with my life? All these big questions that are kind of around, that you may have pondered about, but now they're the big questions that you need answering, and they're all about reconnecting with you. So what's really happening in your body when all this is going on? It's not just mental, it's not just emotional, they're physical things that are occurring, and it's what we call somatics. So soma is just your body, and it's what occurs in your nervous system and all your body systems, recalibrating, recognizing that new rhythm, that new kind of pace, that new you. And it feels fucking weird. Okay, so it could be that you're feeling fatigued or tired. It could be that you've got brain fog. It could be that you need more rest or solitude. These are all instances where you need to recharge your batteries. And if you feel that you can't keep up, maybe you're not meant to. And this is what did it for me, is I didn't feel like I could keep up anymore. So I had to change, and I have changed. The old ways do not work anymore. You have to develop your new ways. You have to develop that alchemical process that gets you from that lead and turns you into that gold. It's you letting your body and your systems know that you're safe, and it's okay to do that. And as soon as you feel safe when you start doing that, magical things start happening. And it's a gentle reset. I love a good reset, and it's not what you think. The gentlest things can help you to reset. It's not a full body overhaul. It could just be like a little note in your journal. So think about it then. What are you ready to release? So could you take 5 minutes right now, get a pen, get a bit of paper, and write, just, automatic writing. What are you ready to release right now? Spend a couple of minutes just writing that out, and you'd be surprised at what kind of comes up. Also take a note of, when you read it back through, what happens in your body and how that makes you feel, because that's really important as well. You're giving yourself that space. And this whole feeling of being behind, I always felt like I was falling behind. You're not behind, and this is your reminder, you are not behind. You're just in between, in that stretch, in the space in between, in the messy middle. And actually, this space is sacred, because if you can take the time to just pause and reconnect, you can actually kind of figure out what it is that you really want, and what you're here to do. And it shouldn't be rushed. It's meant to be kind of felt throughout the somatic process, the soma, the what you feel. Just pay attention to what you're doing, like, check in with yourself every now and again. Like, sit there for a moment. How do I feel? Notice from head to toe, how do I feel? Notice what's going on. And when you can check in with yourself that little bit more regularly, you can regulate yourself more. And when you can regulate yourself more, you're responding rather than reacting to situations. And it's more you. It's coming more from your soul and your heart, without getting all woo out there, than you just that physical kind of response. And that next version of you, you're stepping into yourself. It's already forming. You're already connecting with that right now. It's when you stop trying to sprint, and you can actually walk yourself through the process, that everything starts to feel better. We're not meant to be rushing through life. We're meant to be enjoying life. It's not a race. They call it the human race. Well, what are we racing towards? The only certainty is death. So we don't want to get there too soon. But if you kind of meet yourself where you're at, you can walk yourself and walk with yourself through that process. So if this has connected with you, if this has resonated with you in any way, please leave me some comments or get back to me. If you've got any questions, let me know. But if you want to go deeper into this kind of self-inquiry and grounded support, then get in touch with me. I've got loads of resources that are out there. You can watch the YouTube channel. You can, I've got a great guide, the Rebellion Guide, the Self-Rebellion Guide, that you can access for free on my website, or join the kind of the newsletter, the physical newsletter, which is the monthly pit stop. This Refuel podcast is the double pit stop, and maybe we could work together at some point one-to-one. You know, I've got some great kind of programs out there as well. But I'm not here to sell to you. So I just want to tell you, thanks for watching me in this space today. You are doing an incredible job, and you just need to give yourself the time and space to do it. Sit in that messy middle sometimes. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep showing up with whatever you're doing. And if the last few years have taught me that, it is just keep showing up, and everything's figure outable. Breathe, be kind to yourself, and go out there and enjoy life. Love and wellness from me, Tracy. See you for the next episode.